great power comes great responsibility.
Hey guys, I just want to give you that quick quote from Spider-Man, if you weren't familiar with it. What Spider-Man's uncle says to him is, with great power comes great responsibility. Sorry for that flipping around. I didn't have a good way to edit a video or anything, because I suck at that kind of stuff. But that is very true of a lot of things. With great power comes great responsibility, right? We see that in the world we live in, and we can see that in our own Christian walk, right? Sometimes we will be in a position of influence as a believer, and we can either use that as a way to lift ourselves up or a way to lift God up, right? I'm going to talk a little bit more about humility today, but being humble and going about your life with humility doesn't mean that you will never be in a position of power or of lowliness or of no influence. Sometimes we will be in positions of power, all of us. And, the best tool that we as Christians can have to maintain a Christian walk and maintain that close to Jesus is with humility, right? Knowing that we can't go through these situations, or at least go through these situations glorifying God in the right way on our own, right? So I just want to get into some verses about humility. The first one is Ephesians 4, 1 through 3. So Ephesians 4, 1 through 3. It says, "Therefore I, a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Always be humble and be gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourself united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together in peace." So what does this mean? What does it mean to be a prisoner for serving the Lord? What does it mean? So it means that each position that he holds in life is solely for the glory of God, right? It doesn't matter if someone's a teacher. It doesn't matter if someone works in a convenience store. It doesn't matter if you're a nurse. It doesn't matter if you're a pastor, right? We should be doing those things ultimately to glorify God, right? And it takes humility to understand that, right? It takes humility to live out those things every single day at your job, at your school, in your clubs, in your teams, in your whatever. It takes humility to do those things for the Lord, right? And so that's what it means to be a prisoner for serving the Lord, is we use all those situations. First of all, we know that we can excel in those situations because of God's help. But it also means that we can use those situations to share the gospel, to love better, to be a servant, meaning maybe give something up that you want for the good of someone else, right? Another part of that verse, it says, what does it mean? Another part of it talks about a manner worthy of your calling, right? Beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling. What does that mean? As believers, something that I harp on a lot is how we are children of God, and I don't want us to ever forget that, right? But He does have plans for our life. Part of our humility is being confident in God, right? There is nothing wrong about being confident in the Lord's work in your life, right? But that is how we live in a manner worthy of our calling, is being confident that God is there, giving us His power to do the things that we may not be able to do on our own, or at least not do the right way on our own, right? But that doesn't mean arrogantly, right? We still need to be humble. Humility and confidence in the Lord can go together, but not humility and arrogance, because arrogance is something that comes from ourselves. Confident in God is obviously something that's coming from the work we believe that God is able to do, right? And then the last part, verse 3 of that, we need to make efforts to be united in the Spirit, right? The Holy Spirit's presence in our life is what will allow us to do those things. I hope you guys don't forget that. So one more set of verses I want to read. 1 Peter 5, 1 through 7. Okay. It says, "And now a word to you who are elders in the churches. I too am an elder and a witness to the sufferings of Christ. I too will share in his glory when he is revealed to the whole world. As fellow elder, I appeal to you. Care for the flock that God has entrusted you. Watch over it willingly, not grudgingly, not for what you'll get out of it, but because you are eager to serve God. Don't lord it over the people assigned to your care, but lead them by your own good example. And when the great shepherd appears, you will receive a crown of never-ending glory and honor. In the same way, you younger men must accept the authority of the elders, and all of you serve each other with humility, for God opposes the proud, but favors the humble. So humble yourselves under the mighty power of God, and at the right time he will lift you up in honor. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you." So real quick, that first part, we see Peter talking about him being in a position of power, and how part of that humility is not using that for his own gain, for his own uplifting and glorification and things like that, but to use that to glorify God, but also to be an example of how someone else can live with humility. And then those last couple verses we see, part of that humility is understanding the power of God, and we will be lifted up. We will be in heaven. We will have the imparted righteousness of Jesus. But while we are here on earth, we see what verse 7 says. It says, "Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you." That's something I need to hear every single day, is I can give him my worries and my cares, and he cares about those. It doesn't matter how big, how small, it doesn't matter. It could be as simple as worrying about your car starting. That's a care, that's a worry, and if it's bothering you, you can bring that to God. But understanding you can bring that to God is living in humility, because God cares for you. You know that you can be confident in his power and not your own power. So I hope that's just a little snippet of something that may help you out. Remember, confidence in God and humility can go together, but not humility and arrogance in ourselves and our own power. But it comes from understanding the Holy Spirit and that work in our life. Knowing that we can rely on that at any time. And hopefully we do rely on that. So that's all I got. I love you guys. I'm here for you guys. Please don't forget that. Me and Sarah Beth both are. JD is. Daniel is. Just, we love you. We're here for you, okay? So, hope to see you at Small Group. Love you guys.